Oh, what is this? These are my shorts. What? Why are my shorts in this parcel? I mean, I use them in summer, sure, but hey, wait a minute. What is this here? They're ripped. Who tore my shorts? I can't believe it. There's more in it. Oh, my sweater. Yeah, I like my sweater. It's green. It's not my favorite color, but still I enjoy it. I should put it on again. Wait a minute. You see this here, this little hole? Wait a minute. You see this here? This is one of my best sweaters. I can't believe it. Who ripped this apart? And there's another thing in there. My pants. Okay. Yeah, these are kind of my comfy pants when I get back from work. What happened here? What is this? You see that? Hey, my pants. Look at. This is incredible. Who would ever send me such a parcel and rip my clothes apart? Somebody left a note there. What? I love you?
This is another edition of True Love. I'm Brother Anthony, and this is Brother Alex. And I do believe he has something wonderful here. Someone has sent you a beautiful package. Now, I wonder whoever could it be?
I love you. Who would send that? Well, of course it could be my wife or somebody else who loves me. As a believer in the Father and Yeshua, His Son Jesus, God does send us a lot of such love packages. He has a lot of gifts, because just as an earthly father knows how to bless his children, surely our Heavenly Father knows how to bless us too. Now, why would He send me all these clothes that are torn? Well, perhaps He wants to show me something. Something that I'm not aware of. You know, oftentimes we think, hey, everything is just right, well-dressed, spick and span, nothing to worry about. My relationship with God is wonderful, and yet there is something that we don't see. And the Father sends His messengers. That could be my wife, it could be my brother Anthony, it could be somebody else. And I don't even notice that this is a message that He wants to give me through them. And of course He can also give me that message directly. How about you? Do you have something in your life? Although you are a believer, you have a relationship with Jesus. You say, yes, I love God. He is my Father. And yet, it could very well be that there is something in your life that isn't right. It needs to change. Or have you reached that state of perfection already where you say, I'm just like Jesus?
You know, that's when it comes to the relationship and walking with Christ, as he said, there are some things that the Father tries to draw to our attention. It could be like if you walked past a sidewalk and you had walked past there multitude of times. And let's say one day you said, I've never noticed that there before. You know, I've done that many times. I've walked to a certain location multitude of times, and I noticed something different that I didn't notice before. Probably because maybe someone pointed it out, or I just finally slowed down. You know, that's a problem with many believers today. Or maybe you're not a believer. Have you slowed down and allowed God to show you some things in your life? You know, it's the true love that allows us to slow down. You know, Jesus in the Bible, when people cried out to him, you know, he turned. It was compassion that came over him that caused him to turn and see about their problems.
That's right. You see, oftentimes you don't see those things, and then God has to put a stop sign right in your road. It might be as bad as a disease. You might be hospitalized because before that you were just too busy. You didn't want to hear from God. You didn't want to listen to those people that he sent to you to tell you something very important. I remember one situation that was not as dramatic as that. I didn't have any dangerous medical issue, but I was on my way out from work one day, and I was walking very briskly, and I had no time really. And then there was a colleague of mine who was a bit behind me, but suddenly he said, "Alex." First I didn't hear him, so he shouted because I was, walking so fast. He said, "Alex!" So I turned around and was wondering who would call my name. I mean, what was there to be done or to be looked after? And then I stopped, because he was that stop sign at that point. He came up to me and said, "I need to tell you something." And it looked as if it was something very confidential. So all of a sudden, he had my attention. He had my attention 100%. So I said, "What is it?" He said, "Well, you have those beautiful white pants on, but there is a big hole right there on the bottom. And it shows." Can you believe how I felt? I mean, I just wanted to crawl under the nearest table. I was so embarrassed because all day I hadn't noticed it. And I thought, oh my, who else might have noticed that? So I had my briefcase, and as I walked home, I used the briefcase to cover that part that was exposed. Now, that is only in the physical. Now, there are many other things that are in the spiritual, in our relationship with God. Does God really need to take drastic measures and expose you in such a way that your attention then is drawn to that issue? And why does he do that? Because he loves you. He wants you to stop and examine yourself. Is everything really right?
Oh yes, and he's definitely right on that, because there are many holes in people's lives spiritually, especially in prayer. You know, it's like that, free collect call, a way you can talk to the Father, talk to God when there's things in your life, whether it's good or bad. You don't have to wait till it's things that are bad until you call on the Father, and call God. But you can talk to him when things are going good as well. But some people have holes in their prayer life where they don't talk to God. It's only when they need something, do they do that. But you know what? God wants to talk to you every day.
Yeah.
He wants to have that relationship with you. And guess what? When he looks at you, guess what? He's got a zoom in focus. He wants to spend that time. Like I said before, it's never getting off the phone. You talk to him, you have that relationship, you never want to get off. And so there are other areas that you need to look at. Because what happens when you have a hole in your pocket? You're more likely to lose something along the way. So patch up those holes, allow God to give you that patch so you don't lose those things along the way in your journey.
That's right. And you see, Brother Anthony, you just talked about this relationship where the phone is ready to be used 24 hours. Now imagine I had this kind of relationship just with my brother here. And I would only call him, I would only speak to him whenever I needed something. Oh, by the way, tomorrow I need you to take me here, and I need you to run there. What kind of relationship would that be? Do you think he would feel loved? No, he wouldn't. Neither would I. It's give and take and spending time. So you see, we fellowship, and the fellowship is not based on, okay, here's my to-do list, run those errands for me. That's no relationship. But very often it's how we treat God, right? Where we say, oh, I have this and that need, fix it real quickly, but I mean really quickly because I have other things to do. No, all of these, as Brother Anthony said, these are holes even in your prayer life. I'd like to give you one other hole that I had in my life. This was not so much about prayer, but it was about my marriage. There was a time when I didn't realize that I had neglected my wife and not giving her enough time. I thought, we've been married for many years, I love her, she loves me, everything is okay. Not understanding that you continuously need to maintain that relationship. You need to give and give and give, not because you have to. Oh yes, it's our wedding anniversary, I'd better buy a bunch of flowers so that she is happy. Nothing like that. It's a daily thing. Why? Because I really love her. Because there's true love. And God, how much more is He worthy of our true love based on our heart relationship, one-on-one with Him.
Oh, yes. And, you know, Jesus, He took nails in His hands. Mm-hmm. You know, he went through all these things for you so that you could have unlimited access to Him. You know, people today run around trying to catch these celebrities and things. And guess what? They can only have them for a set time. But God is someone that you can have, whenever you need Him. 12 o'clock at midnight, early in the morning. But you have to desire Him. You have to hunger for Him. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of holes in our lives. But God is right there. If you ask Him, you know, He's a perfect person that knows how to sew up those holes. And guess what? He'll give you a new garment, you know, give you even better shorts. And who knows? That next package you get might be an even greater surprise. Yes. Thing that you need.
And, you know, just before we close for today, Brother Anthony just talked about that wonderful garment, actually the perfect garment. Have you heard of that perfect garment? It's called the garment of righteousness. It's something that no money can buy, that no religious duty can get you. You might be going to church every week, you might be tithing, you might be doing this and this and this and that, and yet this garment is not available by all these means. So how can you get it? If you desire it, it has to be given to you. Who would do that? Well, if you really know God, who is a Father, He's more than willing to give this beautiful gift to you without any holes, without any torn pieces, but perfect clothes. Well, you can get it through Jesus. So my friend, if you haven't really heard about Jesus as the one who provides salvation through His blood that He shed on the cross of Calvary for anyone who is willing to receive it, then it is time for you to do so. These videos might help you get a better understanding what it means to have this kind of relationship. The other channel, the sister channel called Loving Truth, shows you what it really means to give your life to Jesus, what it means to live a righteous life, what it means to get into the Word, and explains many of those things. So it's more on the doctrinal side, whereas this channel is more on the devotional side. But we encourage you, and actually we urge you to make sure that you don't miss receiving the garment of righteousness, the perfect clothes that only God Himself can give us. See you around.